KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, your community hospital with a rich heritage that dates back to before New Mexico was a state. We've been improving the health of the Four Corners since 1910. As a nonprofit hospital, San Juan Regional Medical Center is a values-driven organization. We strive to deliver on our mission to personalize health care and create vitality and enthusiasm in healing. We are here for you when you need us, offering a comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and emergency care services. .840 on KSJE, and you're listening to the Scott Michlin Morning Program. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for tuning in. Hello again to our folks who are watching on Facebook and YouTube. Weather forecast, we are expecting a mostly cloudy day today with scattered showers still in the forecast. Of course, we need the rain, so we can't complain too much about the showers. 57 for a high today in Farmington, 37 overnight with showers continuing, and then mostly sunny skies for Friday and Saturday. The high tomorrow, 61, a bit warmer on Saturday with a high of 67, before another chance of showers back in the forecast beginning early next week and on into Monday and Tuesday. I'm Scott Michlin. My guest on the radio this morning from San Juan County, the San Juan County Chief Operations Officer, Mike Stark, is here. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Scott.
Good to have you here. Thank you for coming in.
You bet.
Talking about the census and all the planning that the county is doing for the census, and so a year and a half out is not too soon to start thinking about 2020.
No, it really isn't. And as we discussed in the earlier segment, we want to be very proactive in our planning to make certain we're getting ready for really a big event, and it all culminates April 1st of 2020. So to your point, we are well ahead of the game, but a lot of planning, a lot of training that needs to take place, and ultimately the Complete Count Committee working on putting together a marketing plan to cover all the various gaps that we have in our community as it relates to the census and getting folks to respond. And so you can't have enough time when it comes to that, and we just need to make certain we're putting our best foot forward on this effort, just like we did in 2010, which I think I mentioned to you. We suffered from a 2% undercount verifiable back in 2000 down to less than 1% in the 2010 effort. So it was very successful when we had the Complete Count Committee in place back then.
Right.
Limited funds. We had a budget of $12,000, and we were able to reduce the undercount from 2% to less than 1%. So pretty good return on investment, really, when you look at $3,000 per person.
Right, over the last 10 years.
Over the last 10 years to have had that kind of success and making sure that everybody felt comfortable, everybody knew the importance of responding. We hope to have most folks self-responding, but obviously if that doesn't happen, making sure that you're getting your information via a follow-up mailer, via a phone call, or via an enumerator coming to your house, a census taker, that information is getting to the Census Bureau, because it has dramatic effects here locally in dollars that are available to us, business funding decisions, capital investment decisions that are made. So just can't speak enough about how important it is.
Right. And I know there may be some folks who are watching and listening this morning who might be saying, well, if you have a verifiable undercount and you know what the count should be, can't you get the numbers to be updated or changed, or is this it for then another decade?
It's it for another decade. That's why it's so important, and that's why we spend so much time, a year and a half in advance of working with the citizens here to understand the importance, because once that number is taken, those numbers are counted and sent to the president, and then ultimately disseminated out to all the various state and local entities. And that's the number that sticks with you for 10 years. You can have estimates, and there are plenty of estimates out there that you can find online regarding population for certain areas, and some pretty good ones, obviously.
Right.
Those are produced by the Census Bureau themselves, but that's not the number that counts when it comes to submitting a grant application. That's not the number that counts when you look at businesses making investment decisions. They may look at trends, but they're also going to look at the hard number that exists every 10 years in our country.
Because they know that's the that's the census number. That's the number that's been taken into account, and with all these efforts behind it to get the most accurate count.
Correct.
Ideally.
That's correct.
And that's what we're talking about. Yeah. And again, with the population of San Juan County and the different challenges that we have here, I guess the idea is to be able to work with all those other partners, the Navajo Nation, the other entities, the cities, of course, in the county, to make sure that they're all out there too. And I think maybe in the cities and the more urban areas, it's not as much of a difficult situation as it is perhaps in the more rural areas where, as you mentioned, you don't have internet connections, maybe not reliable ones, and you may have to travel to get to a kiosk or a chapter house or what have you if you want to self-report online. It's not as easy as just, you know, pulling out your phone on your home Wi-Fi and doing it right there. Correct.
It's more of a challenge, and that's why it's so important for us to educate folks on, you know, why it's worth taking the extra effort if you have to drive into the chapter house to go self-report, or if you get presented the opportunity to you know, send the mailer back, for example, if it's the second time around. It's important to take the time to do that. It does take a little bit of a time, you know, take some time to fill out a form like that, but it's so important to the success of our county and the future of our county. So yeah, those are the challenges the Complete Count Committee is looking at trying to solve. And trying to make this as easy as possible, quite frankly.
Right.
With the help of the federal government. Of course, they're the ones managing this process.
Sure.
We're just the committee here locally helping to provide some local resources, provide the local buy-in that we need to get everyone to report. And this is an effort that takes place nationwide. We're not unique in that regard. I think we are unique that, as I recall, I'm talking to our Census Partnership Specialist, we may be the first in the state to have already organized our Complete Count Committee. So we are a little bit ahead of the game, but we'd rather be ahead of the game and proactive than waiting until the last minute to put together a marketing strategy and a plan to get folks to understand the importance of this.
Sure. And I was just going to add, and then we'll move on to another topic this morning, but I just wanted to add that I think almost any issue that you feel passionate about, whether it's funding for education or economic development or renewable energy or any of these types of issues that we hear talked about in our community that are so important maybe for the future of our community, probably can be based on census numbers. Should we put in a solar farm? Well, what's the population? What does that look like? What's the growth going to be over the next decade? Let's go look at the census numbers. Should we add more money for education? How many students do we have? Should we invest a local business in this community? What's the population we can draw from for employees? All these different things, I would assume, boils down to maybe looking at population numbers, trends, and things the census provides.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, most organizations, and they need to, we strive to do every day at the county, we want to make data-driven decisions. We don't want to make decisions based on anecdotes, or we think that the trend is heading this way. We want to have hard, verifiable numbers on any decision we're making. And that, to your point, all those examples that you provided are great examples of why and how decisions are made and why it's so important to have a complete count in our county.
Right.
Because that every 10-year number makes a huge difference.
That's true. And again, that's the number you live with for the next 10 years. Even if there's an update or what have you, it's still the 10-year census number that you are married to for the next 10 years.
Right.
So there you are. I'm sure this is not the last time we'll be talking about this topic, Mike Stark, but
no.
Let's move on to something else this morning, because I think we've let folks know that the planning is already underway, and they'll be hearing more about this Complete Counts Committee and the efforts to make sure everybody does have an opportunity to be counted in the census.
Absolutely. Yeah, you'll hear a lot from us in that regard.
Right. I want to ask you a bit about the County Industrial Park, which is up at the old La Plata Mine site that folks are probably familiar with as well, but you have a space available sign out front.
We do have a space.
Or will in the next few weeks, I guess.
Well, yeah, we actually have an opportunity on the streets now, a request for application.
Okay.
For any businesses that are in need of industrial space. The San Juan County Industrial Park is located up La Plata Highway, 17 miles from Farmington, pretty close to the state line. It's
right.
You know when you're there when you hit the only overpass in San Juan County.
That's right.
That was a remnant of the BHP Billiton La Plata mine operation. They were mining coal there and hauling it all the way over to San Juan Generating Station. interestingly enough, they made the business decision back then to use long-haul coal trucks versus train.
Right.
Right. I don't know the reason behind that. It would seem to be more expensive and certainly more maintenance intensive. But anyway, that's why that
overpass
exists.
Right.
It's the highest rated bridge. A little unknown fact.
Oh.
Highest rated bridge in the entire state.
Okay.
It was built based upon the specs. Of course, they're trying to figure out a fully loaded coal truck, two of them crossing
on at the same time.
At the same time, how do you build a bridge to handle that? They went to Chicago O'Hare Airport, and one of the not the runway, but the
taxiway
that's over the Dan Ryan Expressway that handles 747s.
Okay.
So
that should about do it. Well,
I think that would handle pretty much anything. So
That's
if you
true.
want to go over there and drive your passenger car across it, you can feel
pretty safe. I can get out and jump up and down, and I'm going to be okay.
You'll be all right.
Okay. Even after a big lunch, I'll be okay.
That's right.
Okay.
But we do have an opportunity up there. We're sad to see a longtime tenant. We acquired that property before BHP Billiton ceased their operations back in 2007. We were able through the BLM to acquire that at a very reasonable rate. Actually, the price of vacant land didn't include any of the improvements, which obviously Pesco has been utilizing that facility now for 10 years.
Okay.
And they had a 10-year lease, and they're moving on. They're actually expanding their operation down at their Highway 64 location. So hats off to them. They've been a great tenant. We hate to see them go, but we do have a great opportunity for someone who may be in need of a 45-acre industrial facility, about a 40,000 square foot industrial building with overhead gantry cranes, office space, locker rooms. There's a building that used to serve as a wash bay, could probably serve as certainly could serve as a wash bay, but an outdoor paint booth, I think, is how Pesco was using it.
I see.
And just a lot of opportunity up there because it's very remote. If you have an operation that may,
a little noisy,
maybe great location. You're not going to have issues up there. And so, we do have that opportunity available on the county website if you had an interested business that's needing some additional space. I'd certainly encourage anyone to go to our website and respond to the request for application.
Gotcha. Very good. And again, it has been a great relationship with Pesco. I think they've been able to do some of the things out there, and now they're expanding their other locations. So it's not like Pesco's not expanding, because we've seen there's a great success story during the last decade or more of a business that's kind of seen the trends coming and been able to move nimbly to meet the demands and the changing economics of the local economy and expand beyond our borders too. Yeah,
they really have. They're a great local company that export a majority of their goods out of the area, and they have diversified. They certainly primary business is oil and gas and manufacturing of different tanks and vessels for that business. But yeah, they've done great. We wish them all the best, and their success in our county has been phenomenal.
Right. But now it's time for someone else to use that space. So so it's available.
Yep.
I guess.
Sure
and you're wheeling and dealing.
Well, there are limitations to what government can wheel and deal with, but we are...
You're accepting applications.
We are accepting applications.
Let's put it that way. Okay. Let's go there first. Sorry. When Mike's eyes get real big, I know that question was a little off. But that's all right.
Yeah.
Mike, we're out of time, probably, thankfully so. But I appreciate you being here. Come back anytime.
You bet. Thanks, Scott. Always appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you.
Thanks for the coffee.
You're very welcome. Glad that gets you here.
Yeah.
So there you are. Mike Stark, my guest here on KSJE. Everyone, back with more in just a moment. The time is coming up on 8:53.